Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez and Pat Sherwood, continuing our previews of the Masters divisions for the 2016 Reebok CrossFit Games. Today, we look at the women 40 to 49-year-old divisions, and the usual suspects here are going to be battling it out for these top spots on the podium.
Some of the other divisions that we talked about, I think there's some newcomers that could really put up a good fight, but for these two divisions, I think the returning champs are going to be really hard.
There are a ton of athletes that haven't just performed well in the Masters category, but in the individual competition as well. And I would even go so far as to say that the women in these divisions have outperformed the men in these divisions relative to their peers worldwide.
We'll start with the 45 to 49-year-old division for the women, and this one's extremely close. On top of the leaderboard, Cheryl Brost comes in with 16 points, just 3 points up on Tanya Osborne, and then just 4 points up on Kylie Massey, who is the defending champ. Now, she does not come in as the #1 seed after the Masters Online qualifier, but she is still the defending champ until she's not.
I think she's going to be okay. Having won the games means a tremendous amount. If you look back at how it went for her last year, there were 7 events. In 6 of those, she had top 3 finishes, to include 3 event wins: the triplet, the long chipper, the double hanger. Now 3rd in the Masters Online qualifier. Her really only quote-unquote stumble was on the deadlift, where she took 10th place. She still pulled 345 pounds, so she's going to be okay.
Now, with that being said, the 2 women ahead of her coming into this on the Masters Online qualifier, Cheryl Brost and Tanya Osborne, very capable of unseating her.
I think Brost and Osborne are going to be battling all weekend long in Carson. Starting with Cheryl Brost, she was first in the Open, first in the Masters qualifier. She's a 2-time Games qualifier as an individual until an Achilles injury sidelined her. Last year, she was 4th at the Games. The year before that, she was 2nd. And I think she's just starting to hit her stride now that she's aged up into a new division and is the young athlete here. And then you look at Tanya Osborne, 2nd and 2nd in both the Open and Masters qualifier. Talk about how impressive some of these performances are worldwide. Well, Tanya Osborne, in a very, very tough SoCal region for women, was able to get one of those regional invites. Obviously she declined. She's focused on the Masters competition, but impressive performances nonetheless.
The marquee matchup between the 3 women on top coming into this in the Masters Online qualifier. But beyond that, who are some women we should be keeping our eyes on?
Well, Tracy Shuford, who's just below them in 4th, is a multi-year Games qualifier as well. And then down in 7th, Amanda Allen, who she may not be focused on CrossFit right now. She said she's taken some time to focus on other areas of her life. But a couple years ago, she was one of the most dominant athletes we have seen in the Masters competition as well. Right now, she's currently running across Australia in an effort to raise awareness for some mental health stuff. And I think even despite the fact that she's not focused on training, 2-time champ, individual Games qualifier as well, she can definitely do some damage.
Running across Australia. She is tough as nails, and by her own admission, didn't have the focus she has in years past. But if she shows up anywhere near the Amanda Allen of old, she is an absolutely ferocious competitor.
Let's go to the 40 to 44-year-old division, and it's a woman that we saw compete at the regionals down there in Australia at the Pacific Regional, who sits atop the leaderboard coming into this after the Masters Online qualifier. That's Helen Harding, just 30 points ahead of Jolene Undershoot. Janet Black is your defending champion. She's at 56 points back of Helen Harding, but she is the defending champ, and she has a ton of experience.
She does. And last year at the Games, 6 out of 7 events, top 5 finishes, to include an event win on SQT. She did that workout as prescribed, 3 minutes and 28 seconds. After the first day of competition, she was the clear leader. It's her 4th trip to the Games, and she actually qualified in 5th place overall for the Open in the South Central region. Incredibly capable athlete.
We don't want to take anything away from Helen Harding, though, because she comes in as the #1 seed. She dominated the Open, and she dominated the online qualifier.
Yeah, she might have had the most impressive performance of any master, male or female, so far in the Open in particular. She won the Open in her division. She won the Masters qualifier. She finished 4th in the Open for Australia for the individual competition, went on to regionals where she competed, and she took 11th. And at this stage of the game, with how difficult it is to make it to regionals, the level of competition that we've brought by combining regions, to take 11th against athletes like Tia Toomey, Carl Webb, Alethea Boone, that is just phenomenal. I don't think we'll see any Masters athlete come close to that for a couple years now. So I think she's definitely the front runner.
Given the talent that is in this division, it's difficult to just narrow it down to 3 people who you think will be on the podium. But who do you think, beyond the 2 that we just talked about, has a chance of getting themselves into that fight.
Again, several women, but I'm going to focus on Jolene Undershoot. This is her third trip to the games, but it's her fourth time qualifying. She's placed as high as fourth all the way back in 2013. She placed sixth in the Open Canada West region as an individual. Absolutely amazing performance. She loves the barbell. She had a 185-pound thruster last year at the games and first place on the sandwich. So if she's built that engine up as well, she could really do some damage.
And don't sleep on a games veteran, Annie Sakamoto. She has been around since the early days of CrossFit. There's probably not a thing that could come out of the hopper that she hasn't seen or tried before. She's qualified for the games 2 times as an individual, finishing as high as 9th in 2011. She's a Spirit of the Games winner. She just missed the games in 2013 by 2 spots at regionals. You know, she's one of those athletes. We saw her at regionals working alongside her. She just is a ball of energy, and I think if she brings that to the games in Carson, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, the Masters competition gets going on July 19th, Tuesday, the week of the 2016 Reebok CrossFit Games down there in Carson, California. Tickets are still available. Head to games.crossfit.com for more information on that. That's going to do it for our look at all the Masters divisions. We have the teams and the individuals left. We'll take a look at the teams starting next week. For Pat and Tommy, I'm Sean. We'll see you then.